5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take it away, Matt.
All right, thank you. It's 6 o'clock sharp, or sharp, as they say where I'm from. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. And Diane, could you give us the roll call?
Yep, we have Trish, Jack, Larry, Pete, Charlie, yourself, Terry, Tina, Nancy, and Kate.
Okay, great.
I didn't hear anybody of any of the chiefs on at this time.
Okay. So we'll get started because it seems, how sad is it? It seems like 2 weeks since we've met, but we met 3 days in a row last week.
I know.
Trish, if you wouldn't mind taking it away.
Sure.
Mike,
okay. Hi, Chief.
Hi.
Okay, so I condensed everything pretty much in the effort of, respecting everyone's time because I'm sure you just are thrilled to hear from me every other day. So this is a synopsis of everything from May 7th to May 11th. The current situation, according to the governor, one of the things that he is excited about is, and you may have seen it on the news, we have a new online portal for testing, and this time you do not need a doctor referral. So that's significant. For those of you, that may run into somebody that's curious what to do about various things, feel free to share this stuff. And if you can't remember contact information, get a hold of me and I'll send it over to you. Also, the long-term care testing, they're increasing it significantly since that is where most of our deaths are coming from, unfortunately. As of this morning, we had 3,071 persons with COVID in New Hampshire. 1,299 have recovered. Unfortunately, 133 deaths. We've got 307 hospitalizations. 113 are current. 345 tests pending at a public health lab, and 2,900 are being monitored. As far as our first responders go, we've got 31 first responders being tracked as quarantined. Out of those, 17 are fire, 14 are police, 31 are members in alternative housing, and they talked about the new testing and exposure guidelines for frontline workers that actually was released over the weekend. So there's a lot of talk about that. They've also talked, a lot of talk about success with getting PPEs out to businesses. Unfortunately, they're still looking for more surgical masks. They hope to get some. There's a lot of social media conversations they wanted us to know out there, and they expanded on it. I think it's on the next page. But right now they're saying they've increased conversation in social media about masks, about testing, unfortunately about meat shortages. They're talking about reopening businesses, the pros and the cons. They're concerned about beaches and malls. So there's a lot of conversations going on, and they're screening. The 211 number is just being inundated with what about this, what about this, what about this. So I'm sure we're going to hear more as things start to open. The national media focuses on a violent reaction to mask policies and reopening the country, so there was a lot about that. We had some riots going on regarding towns that are saying you have to have a mask, blah, blah, blah. So I'm sure we'll get more on that. They talked about, again, the long-term testing. They're really concerned about getting long-care facilities, more testing and more PPEs, since clearly they don't have enough. There was also issues with the Department of Motor Vehicle, and they're expanding limited appointments to the Office of Highway Safety, and probably Chief Jewett already knows about that. But they've also said we've got a 70% increase in traffic accidents because we've got more people out. They also said, and again, I will share this email with you if you want, not tonight, but in the morning. They said that if anyone talks to you that's a business owner, they may want to know what can they do, how can we order PPEs. They now have a website that business owners can go to actually order PPE. So that's kind of a nice touch that they haven't been able to do thus far. Military did respond and said that we've got some issues at food banks and also call centers. They said that the longer that this goes on, they anticipate more problems at the food banks. In addition to that, you probably remember a few phone calls ago, I talked about hikers getting lost. Well, now it's happening more and more. Of course, the weather is getting nicer. And they're saying that some areas are having hikers getting lost. They're concerned about anyone that has hiking trails or recreation area. They mentioned that the average 6 to 8 out of 6 to 8 responses for search and rescue calls each weekend, they're not finding these people quickly. They said these calls are for lost hikers. They could use 911 coordinates to guide them back, but oftentimes, evidently, there's no signal, so it's not happening. They said there's future concern as the weather is getting warmer, that there's going to be more hiker members, and search and rescue calls could actually spike. They also talked about deployment, directed patrol along the seacoast to enforce parking restrictions and beach closures. And they also cautioned towns that said if you have local parks and beaches, you may want to restrict parking and gatherings to actually what the facility can handle. So this is kind of interesting, this little piece, and there's some information here that I'll send. Again, unfortunately, I'm in Groton at my mom's house. We had a death in the family, so I can't send this to you tonight, but in the morning, I'll send this to you. So they said there's continued disinformation and campaigns that are appearing online. And Chairman Mack, you've already talked about this. Be careful about what you repeat. So this says it includes information, manipulation, and fabrication about COVID-19, its origin, its scale, the government response and or prevention, and treatment with a goal of elevating people's increased uncertainty. They said simple steps to protect yourself, especially as leaders of the town, and minimize the likelihood of amplifying disinformation is utilize tested government sources like www.coronavirus.gov. They said that FEMA, and I can send that to everyone that may need it, FEMA has established a coronavirus rumor control website because it's getting so bad, where you can learn more about specific disinformation and campaigns. They said you may get stuff in your emails or maybe even in the mail, and they said please check the sources of your information. Search for other reliable source of information on the issue, and in quotes, they said, listen, think before you link. Take a moment to let your emotions cool down before you share something, whether it's online or offline. Think before you link. I think that's kind of cool. I know Matt's going to pick right up on that. Also, they said, isn't that cool? Online trends, they said a lot of talk about reopening the economy. There's talk about the businesses, and should they require masks? Should the town say the businesses have to require masks? There was even discussion this morning on college campuses that they may not even open in the fall. So there's a lot of uncertainty out there. They said, in addition to that, that deliveries were made yesterday and today to dental facilities, another entity that hasn't got the PPEs that they actually needed. And FEMA is also working to coordinate delivery of a new drug to New Hampshire. They said millions of masks are on order, and they're going to try to work with all the entities that need the PPEs and this new drug. And on a final note, both chiefs know about this, and Larry and Kim, and I think Diane. We had to give the state the information on our first responder stipends. So we completed that Friday at 1. And what Larry wanted to know with today's phone call, and they responded to him, was who's going to pay the town's portion of that stipend. the benefit portion of it. And the answer is it is recoverable through the CARES Act. And I did send over that document to Diane and Kim that gives information on when we finally get that check. And we have to have one of your meetings. And like Diane said, it's not like we don't have enough meetings. We've got plenty of meetings. We post a meeting that you're going to accept funds so that then at that point Kim just can disperse them. And that's it. I rolled all that up into, 15 minutes?
Awesome.
That's good.
Great job.
Very good.
Awesome. Hey, Trish.
Yes.
Sorry to hear about your relative.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for taking the time to still join us. So
that's okay.
Yeah.
My brother, Matt, my brother's an attorney, so he probably appreciates that I'm standing here talking to another attorney that actually I have to make you listen to me, which is pretty cool. He doesn't listen to me.
Well, tell him I'm sending you a bill as I'm obligated to. Whenever I
he's sending a bill.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's $700 an hour.
$700 an hour.
Yeah.
I don't want him to report me to the bar.
There you go, yeah. He said good luck collecting.
I know where you live.
Yeah, there you go.
So this is kind of where we are. Today was a crucial phase, first step in the phase. May 11th, a lot of stuff was supposed to have opened today, so now we're going to start to see how this all goes and take a look at the numbers as we go along. And then down the line here, I think the board has committed to kind of take in the information as we've done and kind of observe what happens and what the governor plans to do before we open anything. So
correct.
We're taking notes, so to speak. So
yeah.
Okay.
I thought that was an important update on the stipend. So we'll keep an eye on that one. And I'm glad they gave the answer, because when I first heard that question, I'm like, yeah, we're not responsible for that. That comes out of the CARES Act. That's what I read in the paper anyway. So.
Yes, that's true. Yep.
All right. So is there anything anybody has come up with as a concern that we want to address in this meeting?
Matt, this is Diane.
Diane, go ahead.
Just a reminder that the library will be the life safety issues will be done on Wednesday, May 13th. Just a reminder.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. And I do have minutes when you're ready for that.
Yeah, why don't we get that done with really quick here. What was the date on them?
Just May 4th is the only one I have right now, and it's just public.
Anybody on the board want to make that motion?
So I move to accept the minutes of May 4th, public.
Second.
Seconded by Charlie. All right, we'll go around. Kate?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Matt's an aye, so that's unanimous. So we accomplished something tonight, so that's great. All right. Anything else out there?
Chief Jewett, I thought you had something you wanted to ask them.
I've actually retracted my email. I'll send you a update on it later, but I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Excuse me. Oh.
Go ahead, Terry.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I just want to say thank you to Diane for going again on Wednesday. Appreciate that very much.
No problem.
Thank you.
Chair, this is Jack Hozek. Just to let the board know that DBA will be having a conference call tonight for a couple of issues we're going to discuss.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yep.
I'm sorry, what was that? It was broken up a bit. What did Jack say?
He said the ZBA's meeting tonight.
Ah, okay.
Conference call. Via a conference call.
Yep. Good. Is that your first one since this started, Jack?
That is correct, yes. Yep.
Yeah, good. And I think the planning board meeting tomorrow is the first one via telecon, too, since it started. So it's good that we're getting the town's business done.
On the plan, this is Diane, on the planning board, I don't think they're meeting tomorrow night, according to the website. They postponed it.
So I have an invite to it. Larry, did you get a cancellation notice?
Unmute, Larry.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't get the cancellation. I thought it was still on.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. I'm just letting you know what they have on on our website.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so if there's nothing else,
have we made any progress on coming up with a plan for accepting bulk items without a voucher yet at the transfer station?
Good question.
I believe what we're going to try and do is no more cash. We're just going to try and take checks only. I did talk to a couple of residents over the week, and one of them expressed his concern that he doesn't have a checking account, so there's no way he could do that. But I'm not quite sure how we would handle something like that.
So, I hate to bring this up for fear of this will devolve into a long conversation, but I said a while ago on here this is a time for thinking out of the box. And what about credit cards?
No machine.
What about getting a credit card machine?
Yeah, you can put it right on an iPhone.
Go ahead, Nancy.
Yep, you could do that.
I did talk with the bookkeeper, and because I know Pete was going to, I talked with Pete and I talked with the bookkeeper. They're really, to start up another credit card, it's a process in setting up the account and everything. And right now, working with the town clerk's credit card has been a lot of work for them. I don't think they were in favor of it for the little bit that you might get by a credit card.
How much do we typically bring in, Pete, ballpark, via bulk items when we're, in a normal position to take them?
Daily, weekly, I'd say weekly would probably do a few $100. On a good week, we can pull in 1,000 or more.
Mm-hmm. So, again, it's no skin off my nose, but seems to me that we're talking. I can't remember the last time I paid for something with cash. I use a credit card for everything these days, and I'm more apt to be driving to the dump and having a credit card in my wallet than cash. Mm-hmm. And today I had a plumber had to come to my house, and he handed me an iPad. And in the iPad, he swiped the credit card through the iPad, and I signed it, and he was on his way. So,
yep,
$1,000 a week in a good week. We could get more people coming in there if it was easier to do. I don't know. Again, it's just
there is a fee, but still.
Matt.
What's that, Charlie?
What does Pete have for a phone? If Pete's got an iPhone, all she's got to do is get one of them little things that you put into your phone. Yeah, those little
adapters, right?
Yeah, them adapters, and run it. You don't have to do any more than that. It'll go right to the town. And all that is calling up the credit card company and getting it.
Yep.
Charlie, the whole purpose is to keep away from people, and that would be in conflict trying to do at the transfer station. That's what Pete and I discussed it, and we figured checks would be the easiest way. And I think very few people don't have checking accounts. And to us, do credit cards,
Right.
with that at the transfer station. Yeah. We just don't have the facilities to do those type of things. Yeah.
Millennials
you're gonna,
don't have checking
right.
accounts.
Right. Well, are you going to bill us a window and so forth, like when you go to Home Depot? They're talking about the library and so forth. That you're going to have to do all that stuff at the transfer station that goes that route. I sure the hell don't want to come in contact with anybody. You know, that's the last thing I want to do.
This is customer service. We're
use
talking
Venmo.
about, though.
What about Venmo?
Yeah, Venmo.
That's something you never have to touch anything. They let her sign up for Venmo or PayPal, and they could, things of that nature, where they're on their phone, the ones who can, push a button, it goes right to the transfer station account. No one, because I agree, like having a lot of credit cards going through Pete's phone. He'll have to wash his phone and hands, et cetera.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see anybody who works there have to give up their phone to somebody to scan it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a town device or whatever.
We're not
Again,
taking anything
I don't want to solve anything on the call right now. I'm just going to leave it at this.
Okay.
We really need
to. Most of them are closed.
Well, you have to do the
Is somebody talking?
Somebody's talking.
Everybody is.
I think it's Jack.
Okay. So.
Oh, I had my phone on mute. It wasn't me.
Oh, okay.
Well,
so I'll just leave it at this. Whenever we bring up a subject like this, I shouldn't say I'm surprised. I always hear things like we can't,
Mm-hmm.
and I never hear well, we could try.
Let me make a recommendation, Matt. Matt, you come down and work the front gate for a couple of Sundays and a Saturday when we're busy, and you can handle all those issues. You've got a wife and two kids at home. I'm sure you don't want to expose yourself to that kind of stuff.
No,
yeah?
I do. But Jack, no offense, but is that really the comeback there?
Well, it's I want to protect
customer
myself.
Service, Jack. I never mentioned anything about not protecting you guys. The whole reason this came up is because we want to do something so you guys don't have to handle money.
Right. But the way it's sounding, it's going the opposite direction. That's what I'm getting out of it.
Well, I don't think it should go in that direction. We should have something set up where you don't have to have contact. That's the whole point behind this. We don't want you to have extra contact.
And Jack, these are just suggestions.
Exactly. Anything else for tonight, folks?
Sorry, Diane here again. I do have a correction on the planning board. It was the public hearing that got canceled, not the public meeting. Sorry about that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Anybody get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. Second on that?
Second, says Kate.
All right. I bet all are in favor. So everybody have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
You
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night.